Bonjour, y'all. Je suis heureux de vous accueillir à la cérémonie des prix de la jeunesse pour les objectifs de développement durable. Je m'appelle Chuck Danibo et je serai votre maître de cérémonie. Avant de commencer, I want to let everyone know that we do have simultaneous translation between English and French, so feel free to use the toggle feature on the bottom as necessary. The chat will be open for the remainder of the program. Feel free to send congratulatory messages or send tech questions if you're having any technical issues on Zoom. And everyone that will be honored today has a video featuring the work that they're doing towards realizing the SDGs. So check out the chat for the web link to watch the videos or rewatch the video. And here are the profiles of these passionate, incredible, phenomenal young change makers. Avant de commencer la programmation, prenez un moment pour reconnaître le territoire sur lequel nous nous trouvons. Bien que cette cérémonie se passe en ligne, j'ai formulé cette reconnaissance du territoire pour la ville de Calgary, en Alberta. Souvenez-vous que la reconnaissance du territoire est une manière de comprendre l'histoire de la terre sur laquelle nous nous trouvons et notre lien avec elle, et donc notre responsabilité envers elle. Si vous nous rejoindre de notre ville, je vous encourage de personnaliser cette reconnaissance du territoire pour l'endroit où vous vous trouvez. C'est avec un sentiment d'humilité et de gratitude que je me partage avec vous en représentant la communauté qui me réclame et la terre où j'ai trouvé un sentiment d'appartenance. Je viens de Calgary, une ville qui a été construite sur le territoire du traité numéro 7, reconnaissant la souveraineté de la Confédération des Pieds Noirs, donc les Siksika, les Kana et les Piikani, qui ont nommé le territoire Mohkinstsis. Les nations Stoney Nakoda, qui ont nommé le territoire Chispa Oyade, et la nation Tsutsina, qui l'a nommé Kutsiso. Calgary se trouve également dans la région 3, dans le territoire historique de Métis du Nord-Est, dans le nord et Otoskoini en Métis. J'ai fait partie de la belle communauté franco-albertaine, une petite communauté pluraliste, remplie d'une pléthore de cultures, d'accents et de façons d'être, mais unie par une langue, un fort sens de l'activisme, un esprit de résilience. Mon ascendance vient à la Igbo, aussi appelée le terre des Igbo, où je puise tant de force, de culture et de valeurs. Tous les noms de la terre sur laquelle la ville de Calgary se retrouve font référence à la rivière Bow, une rivière qui a donné tant de vie et tant de leçons à ses peuples. Les Pieds Noirs, les Stoney Nakoda, les Tsutsina et les Métis exigeaient et exigent encore la justice climatique, la souveraineté et les droits de vivre. Il est impératif que nous suivions notre direction de ce gardien, de système de connaissances, d'apprentissage et de culture qui souligne la terre et son bien-être. Je rends également hommage à tous les peuples autochtones qui habitent à Calgary, qu'ils soient de la région ou d'ailleurs au Canada, qu'ils soient jeunes ou âgés, parce qu'eux aussi continuent de suivre la justice climatique et le droit de vivre avec dignité et respect en suivant les savoirs et les systèmes culturels. Je voudrais également prendre ce moment de reconnaître l'histoire de l'esclavage et des conditions de servage au Canada afin de rendre hommage à toutes les personnes noires et pas noires qui ont payé le prix de leur sang pour bâtir ce pays. Même si elles ont tant fait pour ce pays, leurs histoires sont si souvent ignorées. Et finalement, à tous les immigrants et tous les immigrants qui sont tombés amoureux de Calgary et ont donné à cette terre leur progéniture, leur héritage et leur vie. Merci. Les immigrants au Canada, à Calgary, ont dû lutter contre des barrières de discrimination et de racisme, mais elles et ils ont aimé cette terre de tout leur cœur et ont contribué à renouveler chez eux et celui de la génération future avec amour et respect. Je vais maintenant arrêter pour les prochaines 60 secondes, minutes, afin de vous donner l'occasion de faire votre propre reconnaissance du territoire et de réfléchir à votre rôle sur le terre sur lequel vous vous trouvez.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you very much everybody for taking that moment to reflect. So commençons le programme. Bienvenue à la toute première édition des prix canadiens de la jeunesse pour les ODD, une nouvelle initiative nationale par des jeunes pour des jeunes. Cette initiative vise à reconnaître les contributions des jeunes personnes de ce qui est actuellement le Canada à la réalisation des ODD de l'Organisation des Nations Unies. As we celebrate the passionate young changemakers from across the country, let us not only uplift their voices and efforts, but work in tandem with them to redesign our economy, redesign our society, redesign our country, and redesign the world to be one where everybody, regardless of circumstances of birth, is able to blossom into their full potential. To the young Canadian leaders taking strides and paving the way towards progress on the global goals, congratulations. We celebrate you, we commend you, and we encourage you to keep it up. Les prix ODD Jeunesse du Canada sont RPRG au sein de l'Alberta Council for Global Cooperation. On est together ensemble. Et sont financés par le programme de financement des objectifs de développement durable de l'emploi et du développement social Canada. Notre hôte, la CGC, Alberta Council for Global Cooperation, est une coalition d'organisations où certains bénévoles situés en Alberta travaillant à l'échelle locale et internationale pour un développement humain durable. L'événement affilié Together Ensemble est une conférence nationale consacrée au suivi des progrès du Canada dans le maintien des objectifs de développement durable des Nations Unies. La conférence qui réunit le secteur privé, le monde universitaire, représente une approche concertée de la société dans son ensemble pour relever les défis les plus difficiles du développement durable au Canada. By registering for this event, you are registered for the conference. So if you just showed up for this event, welcome. But you also registered for the conference. You have access to the recordings and you have access to the rest of the conference that'll be happening tomorrow and on Friday as well. So feel free to log in the same way that you did for this conference in order to be able to access all the other amazing sessions that will be going on. And by following the link that is going to be provided in the chat, you can learn about what the conference is, and you can also find out the ordre du jour, the program of the conference. I now get the absolute pleasure to pass, to give la parole to Noor Tajik. So I stated earlier that this award is a result of a By Youth for Youth effort. And so Noor Tajik is a member of the advisory committee that helped design and put this award together. She is a student at the University of Regina studying environmental system engineering and holds the position of sustainability support for the president's office at her institution. She's an advocate for equal access to resources, and her research interests are in drinking water quality for remote areas and integrating GIS applications for environmental benefit. Noor has started a remote water testing pilot project in the northern areas of Manitoba to address this issue. Alongside her studies, Noor also manages a nonprofit gardening project in Saskatchewan focused on SDG number 2, which is zero hunger, number 3, good health and well-being, and number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Noor will be telling us about how the Youth Council came up with the award categories and giving a nod to the folks that she worked with in order to build the celebration of young ingenuity. Noor, over to you.
Thank you for that warm welcome, and I'm excited and honored to be here today. So the Canada SDG Youth Awards Advisory Committee was comprised of 13 stellar multi-sectoral youth between 16 and 30 years of age and were selected from coast to coast. The bios can be seen in the chat. The committee drove the campaign to ensure activities best reflect the unique interests and perspectives of young people from diverse communities and lived experiences. So we participated in roundtables, breakout sessions, and other virtual structures, and we shaped the awards through consensus-based decision-making, and we came up with the following 5 award categories. So we have environmental sustainability and climate action, community health and well-being, innovation and systems change-making, social justice and inclusivity, and last but not least, education and economic development. More information on the categories can be found on the links provided in the chats. Now, to be eligible for nominations, an initiative had to be working towards the UN SDGs, and it had to be led by young Canadians aged between the ages of 10 to 30 from all sectors in Canada. And of course, in the spirit of togetherness, they must be working in groups. I would like to thank all the Canadians who responded to this call and nominated these young Canadian leaders taking strides towards the achievements of these SDGs. Our group also came up with a list of experts in the fields denoted by the specific categories, who were then approached to form a selection committee. The nominated initiatives were evaluated based on leadership, approach, and impact. A consensus was reached that there would be 2 awardees per category, and a congratulations to the 10 initiatives represented here today is said for me today. And to all of those who are nominated but are not receiving an award today, I would like to congratulate you for your great work that you are doing. Not only is it noticeable, but your work towards achieving the SDGs is making the world a more just, fair, and sustainable place for all. So keep going. Together Ensemble conference has tomorrow at 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Time Central, a great opportunity to learn from experienced creative professionals the process to turn your shared passion for social change into an active campaign. So I encourage you all to go to the website and register. Thank you once again for having me here today, and I would like to congratulate you all once again. Back to you, Chuck.
Merci beaucoup, Noor. Merci énormément.
Thank you very much,
So
Noor.
I guess we get to start the awards, which is very exciting. So I get to announce the first category. The first category is Community Health and Well-Being, ou Santé et Bien-être Communautaire. This category primarily focuses on SDGs 1, 2, 3, and 6. And so the purpose of this category is to promote mental or physical well-being through ensuring access to sustainably managed resources and health equity. With this in mind, our category winner is the initiative Girls of Tomorrow, located in Calgary. And we'll be hearing from Jenna Walsh, who will be accepting the award on behalf of Girls of Tomorrow. Let's roll to video.
In 2019, Uganda's Ministry of Education reported that nearly 1 in 4 Ugandan girls between the ages of 12 and 18 will drop out of school once they begin menstruating. So it's really not a small issue. It does have far-reaching consequences for girls' mental and physical health. Around 50% of Ugandan girls do not have access to basic menstrual supplies to manage their next period. So we created our menstrual health program to both increase Ugandan girls' access to menstrual supplies, as well as reduce harmful menstrual stigma through menstrual health workshops. We distribute reusable menstrual pads to schools in the Rakai and Chotara districts of Uganda. We also teach girls how to sew their own reusable menstrual pads. We also need to combat the harmful myths around menstruation that lead girls to experience shame and anxiety, which ultimately prevents them from reaching their full potential.
As an organization, we think there is a need for involving male parents, and during these workshops, these parents have tried to realize their weaknesses.
We include males in our workshop because historically men have not been involved in conversations regarding women's health. We believe that quality health resources for women should be the concern of everyone in the community, not just women. When girls receive an education, they're able to lift themselves up out of poverty, but we need to remove barriers to education, and one of the ways that we can do that is increasing access to menstrual health resources. Good afternoon, everyone. So on behalf of the Girls of Tomorrow Foundation Board of Directors, I want to thank Together Ensemble, ACGC, and the Selection Committee for recognizing our menstrual health initiative. Our initiative was created based on the belief that we all have a role to play in ensuring that girls and women's menstrual health and hygiene needs are met. We really want to see a world where girls can participate in their schools, in their workplaces, in their communities without menstrual health being a barrier. So our hope is that we will be part of the generation that helps put an end to the shame associated with menstruation. And I think this starts by us all making a collective effort not to shy away from talking about periods. It's important to remember that the problem of menstrual shame doesn't just occur in Uganda, but all around the world. For example, in Canada in 2021, 44% of Canadian girls reported being shamed because of their period. So even beyond our work in the context of Uganda, a lot needs to be done in this space, and we need to do better at making sure girls have access to health resources and support. So thank you again for giving us a platform to spread this message. And thank you as well to all the other award recipients for all the incredible work that they're doing for sustainable development all around the world. So thank you again, and back to Chuk for the next category.
Merci beaucoup, Jenna. That is phenomenal work that y'all are doing. And I love that you took this fantastic initiative and you said straight up, it still applies in Canada, right? There's still people that are being shamed for having periods. There's still people that aren't comfortable with periods and talking about periods. There are men that are very comfortable going to buy, pads. So really sort of making sure that these conversations are at the forefront. Merci beaucoup, Jenna. Avant de continuer le déboursement des prix, j'ai le plaisir
Before I continue, however, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Ms. Sachs, who is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Family, Children and Social Development, to offer a few words of welcome.
Est une militante communautaire.
Ms. Sachs is a long-time community activist who believes strongly in the values of equality, diversity, and who has dedicated her career to addressing inequalities in society. She was first elected as the Member of Parliament for York Centre in 2020. Ms. Sachs brings a Canadian and a global perspective to her community involvement. In this capacity, Ms. Sachs has served on the Standing Committee on the Environment and Sustainable Development and the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Development.
Elle a également été membre de plusieurs
She has also been a member of several other parliamentary associations and interparliamentary groups.
Yara Sachs était auparavant détenue pour une vote qui avait lieu dans la Chambre des communes, mais elle est maintenant disponible pour partager quelques mots.
Grant in the House of Commons, but she was very happy to come and share with us. Over to you, Minister Sachs.
Merci beaucoup, Chuk.
Thank you very much, Sachs. Good
It's wonderful to
all.
join you today. I'm very excited to be joining you actually from Toronto, from my home. So I'm thrilled to be with you, at least virtually. So I'm joining you from the Toronto traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Métis, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations. And I'd like to thank Together Ensemble for hosting the ceremony and the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation for leading such an important initiative. Without your support, the young people today would not be here showcasing their extraordinary work. And Jenna, really congratulations to you and the initiative of Girls of Tomorrow. To the youth winners, congratulations. You should all be so very proud of yourselves and the work that you're doing. You're taking extraordinary steps to help Canada advance the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. With only 8 years left, we have no time to lose. I want to commend you for doing this work, even during a global pandemic and during a time of disruptive climate events. You took it upon yourselves to be the change you want to see. Your work encourages and inspires others, including myself, Minister Gould, and the Prime Minister. And through the Coming Together Ensemble online campaign, the winning initiatives will be heard even louder and clearer across the world. Your actions and your enthusiasm are prompting others to get involved in this global partnership and to meet the 2030 Agenda. Now, with so little time left, it is more critical than ever that we unite our efforts and work together to build a healthier, stronger, and more sustainable future. The time to act is now, and all of you know this. Your inspiring initiatives are already planting seeds and spreading wings. You're already demonstrating strong and inclusive leadership. You're uplifting others. You're standing on the shoulders of past work and keeping the future in mind. And you're bringing transformative change to your communities. And by their very nature, your initiatives meet SDG number 17, partnership goals, and you're leading the way for the rest of us. So congratulations again on being the very first winners of the Canada SDG Youth Awards. Félicitations and thank you. Merci.
Congratulations and thank you.
Toda et merci beaucoup, Madame Sachs. With those beautiful words, let us keep on doling out these awards. So the second awardee for that same first category, which as a reminder is community health and well-being, is the Transition Space based in Ontario. And so this award will be accepted by Caleb Williams on their behalf. Let's roll to video.
1 in 10 Canadian youth are living with a disability. For them, transitioning into adulthood is complex and often overwhelming. Many describe the experience as falling off of a cliff, but they don't have to figure it out alone.
Up until the age of 18 or 21, it's a lot more centralized, the resources and services for the disability system. Once you become an adult, it's a lot more scattered, and so we're really trying to bridge the gap from those two systems.
Transition Space is basically an online resource hub that will help Ontario youth with disabilities navigate through the adult disability system.
Kids Ability, which is the organization that we're working with, they support 11,000 children and youth in southwestern Ontario. So that sort of, gives us a sense of how many are going to be transitioning out of their services.
Kids Ability, they've been really supportive of our initiative. They've been helping us out with resources or like fact checking, kind of having that partnership with them is really helpful because they're also the ones who's going to be using Transition Space.
To solve a community problem, you have to be able to empathize. Once you can put yourself in that shoes, you will go a long way in crafting a solution or coming up with something sustainable that will impact the society.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate being here. And the Transition Space team also appreciate being here. It's been a very long road, I must say. We started this since 2019, and I'm happy we never looked back. I happen to be in a discovery lab, and it's like putting yourself in the shoes of the users. And ever since then, even when the pandemic came, we saw this as it became from a passion project to something that's almost becoming like a startup. And building something that will make an impact in society. And that's what the team is all about, a hub where the disability system, they can come and find all the resources they want. And that's what Transition Space is all about. And the team, this award is gonna help. It's gonna boost the morale of the team, if you ask me. And I'm really grateful. I'm happy that we're being recognized today. And I think it's an encouragement to other people as well. Whatever you do, it shouldn't end on social media. You should take action, and that's what we're all about. We are beyond the hashtag. So I thank everyone. And please be on the lookout for Transition Space dossier as we hope to launch this spring. And it's been over 2 years, and it's going to come soon. So I appreciate your support. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And I really appreciate everyone. So, Chugs, over to you. I'm enjoying your French.
Merci beaucoup, Caleb. I'm just loving that saying beyond the hashtag. I actually want that to be a hashtag. Hashtag beyond the hashtag. OK. Notre deuxième catégorie s'appelle durabilité environnementale et action climatique. Cette catégorie se concentre principalement sur les ODD 12, 13,
12, 13, 14, and 15 of the SDGs.
Ce prix a pour objectif de célébrer les gens qui ont des projets qui interagissent avec la planète de manière responsable et protéger l'environnement pour les générations futures.
Others to protect the environment in the future, to ensure environmental sustainability. The first winner, or rather nominee,
siéger à Ottawa.
In
Et
Ottawa,
le prix sera accepté par
and
Celeste
it will be accepted by Celeste
on their
Alcina.
behalf. Or, yes, Alcia, my bad.
Alcia.
Alcia.
Sorry about that.
So with that, let's switch to video and we get to hear from Celeste.
Ban Ki-moon introduced the Sustainable Development Goals by describing the need for what he called transformative development. It was a call to action for the world to approach global problems like climate change more holistically by exploring the intersections between the SDGs. RAD Cohort is answering that call.
The issue that we're tackling through the RAD cohort is looking at silos within the youth climate space, specifically looking at where there's opportunities and gaps for better collaboration towards climate action and towards the SDG agenda at large. In 2019, Youth Climate Lab, we had an initiative called R2030, and we hosted that across Canada. Something we noticed from that work was that we need a consistent space for youth to constantly be engaging with the 2030 agenda. The other gap was we noticed there was a need to bring in kind of unusual actors into the space. So whether that was folks in tech, coming together with folks in art, coming together with folks in policy, there was a need for this cross-sector collaboration within the youth movement, but also just at large. So that's kind of where this idea of RAD came from, which is a play on the word radical collaboration, which is something that guides the RAD cohort, but also research, activate, and deepen. The goal of the RAD cohort is to enable youth to be radical collaborators. We say climate action and we mean climate justice. And when we say climate justice, we mean all the SDGs, right? And so it's all deeply connected. And I think that's something we really worked to untangle in our own hearts and heads.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this honor and this celebratory award. On behalf of Youth Climate Lab and the team, we're just, really excited to be recognized for this pilot project. It was our first go at this cohort, and it's just awesome to see this be celebrated. And special shout out to Dominique from Youth Climate Lab and the rest of the RAD team who brought this to life, including all of the youth who really opened their hearts to this experience. Super cool to be celebrated in this space. And I guess words of reflection and thought from the program, and something I really wanted to speak out as we assess these systems and really look at a systems level, using the SDGs around all of the ways in which systems are interconnected. One thing that really came to the forefront is that we really do need to take autonomy and go out of our way to ensure our well-being. And that means making sure that we're well within ourselves, within our own hearts, and within our communities. So just a kind reminder and a message from the RAD cohort on my behalf is to rest and to be well, and to also invest in yourself, invest in healers. Again, that is one of the radical collaborations that we're really making space for, is this healing and the spirituality space. So invest in Indigenous, invest in Black healers and those doing that spiritual work, but then also within yourself, kind of invest in your friendships, vibrate that kindness and that love out to you and your communities and to the land, because that goes a long way, especially while we're holding a lot of crises. So kind thoughts and words, and again, thank you very, very much for this honor, and be well. I'll throw it back to Chuck. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Celeste. Alcina.
Thank you so much, Celeste.
Saying that name like I was born saying it. The next awardee in this category is the Imagine Barrie campaign, based in Barrie, which I'm assuming is Barrie, Ontario. And the award will be accepted on their behalf by Emily Goodson. So let's transition to video again.
In 2021, the City of Barrie began drafting their greenhouse gas reduction plan, which would outline how the city was going to deal with its emissions for the next 3 decades. If city officials didn't get it right, it would represent a huge blow to climate justice in Simcoe County. These high school students are making sure that isn't going to happen.
In 2019, the city of Barrie did declare a state of emergency with regards to the climate crisis. That was a very exciting moment for a lot of us, yet 2 years had passed and no actionable items had actually occurred as a result of this. So when the greenhouse gas reduction plan went under review, we were like, hey, we need to jump on this. This is something that we can actually do to hold the city accountable for not actually treating an emergency like an emergency. So we tried reaching out to councillors and we received no responses. So when that happened, we decided we needed to take more drastic action. We ended up planning like a rally and an actual climate strike in Barrie outside of City Hall, where we supported the youth voice and other marginalized groups, saying that we needed to have our voices included on this city plan itself. And we also created a list of demands that we, the youth, wanted to bring forth for the plan itself. The groups of people that have contributed the least to climate change, on average, are the most affected by climate change. BIPOC communities, youth, marginalized groups, all of them are experiencing an immensely disproportionate amount of effects of the climate crisis, and fundamentally, these groups have the least say in what the world is doing about the climate crisis, when logically they should have the most say. It's important to take advantage of planning opportunities like your city's greenhouse gas reduction plans and other policy development so the youth and other disproportionately affected groups can have a say in their future. Youth are extremely powerful and we will not back down and will continue to do so until we are satisfied with the future that we are designing. Hello, everyone, and thank you all for being here today to celebrate these amazing groups of people who continue to fight for and bring change within our communities. So my name is Emily Goodson, and I'm the acting president of SIA, the Simcoe County Environmental Youth Alliance, which is based in Ontario. And I'm just going to say a few words on behalf of the organization. So firstly, we at SIA are so grateful and honored to be the recipients of this award, especially when there are so many other youth organizations who have also been doing work with climate justice as well. So the Imagine Barrie campaign, for which we've been granted this award, is the largest initiative that we have tackled yet, and we are far from losing momentum. We will continue to fight for the youth through climate justice and pursue a just future that we deserve, as the youth, BIPOC communities, and other marginalized groups are the most disproportionately affected by the crisis. And we are simultaneously the ones who traditionally hold the least power. So we are among the most ignored groups of people when it comes to decision-making and policy design, yet we are the ones who have the most at stake because we are the ones who will have to live with the consequences of the decisions that are currently being made. So it's imperative that we show that we are change makers and that we are not going to stand down and let our futures be stolen. Thank you all so much for supporting the youth through these awards and recognitions, and for creating a space for us all to continue fighting for our voices to be heard, so that not just those of us here in Barrie, but all of us across the country and across the world can build the futures that we imagine. Thank you all once again, and a special thank you to Ensemble, the ACGC, and the selection committee. Chuck, I'm passing it back to you.
Damn, Emily, you spoke that English so fast. I was like, is she a secret francophone? Thank you so much for the incredible initiative that you and your team were able to deliver in Barrie, Ontario, out of all places. Exciting. The third category of the award is social justice and inclusivity, and Emma actually offered us a really nice transition into that. So this category concentrates primarily on SDGs 5, 10, and 16. So it focuses on the fight for the rights of all people and creating an inclusive and equal world. The first awardee is the Institute for International Women's Rights, based out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, and will be accepted by Leah Wilson from Manitoba. Let us jump into our Western video.
Making space for voices that have been historically marginalized in women's movements is the kind of learning and growing that requires a lot of thoughtful work. But youth at the Institute for International Women's Rights Manitoba are prepared to do just that.
Worked for advocacy to broaden ideas of gender equity and equality at the municipal, provincial, federal, and international levels. And then we also work more directly with raising awareness of community issues and voices through demonstrations, panels, and a plethora of other things too.
We know that there has been a
ton of progress in the feminist movement, but we have seen, in particularly when we're talking about Indigenous women and Indigenous folks, even though they're suffering and they're discriminated every single day, they're still in the forefront fighting for us, fighting for a better future. So particularly with CSW, Commission on Status of Women, we're hoping to bring back Indigenous voices, Indigenous leadership to ensure that their solutions to climate change and climate inequity are present not only in Canada, but globally.
The innovation that we bring forward as youth is to bring acute awareness to the disparity that has occurred in the past and how we can continue to promote change from a more inclusive and intersectional lens. There's a plethora of issues that gender actually intersects with, and we need to broaden the spectrum of how we understand intersecting identities.
There's a lot of work to do, but we're here and we're together and we can do this.
First off, on behalf of the Institute for International Women's Rights Manitoba, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 1 and Selkirk Treaty territory, and that this is the homeland of the Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Ojibwe, the Dakota, and the Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We work in the spirit of reconciliation and decolonization in our work, including supporting the TRC's 94 calls to action and the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Inquiry and the 231 calls to justice. As well, I wanted to express my thanks and gratitude to Together Ensemble and the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation. I'd like to acknowledge as well all the efforts of the youth who continue this work for sustainability, justice, equity, and the emerging work to make SDGs a lived reality. I'll pass it over to Jessica.
Thank you, Leah, and thank you to the organizers. Events like this remind us of what we're advocating for, which is community connectedness and resilience to intensify the intergenerational dialogue on gender, racial, and climate action, and also to help us to fight and protect the future of our planet. So thank you all so much for this opportunity, and thank you to all of you that are being celebrated here today. It is an honor to be sharing this space with you all. Back to you, Chuk. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, vous deux. Thank you so much, Leah and Jessica da Silva, for the phenomenal initiative that y'all led, but also for coming in this space and sharing with us your thoughts, your wisdom, and your knowledge. The next awardee in this category is Our Community Voices, based out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, which will be accepted on behalf of, will be accepted by Jordan Smith on behalf of the initiative. There we go. English is a hard language, y'all. Onto the video.
We come from a matriarchal society. In our own communities, we have strong voices. We already hold leadership positions. So to be able to express ourselves, give our voices, is really powerful.
Our Communities, Our Voices program aims to amplify the voices of young Indigenous youth. They have learned over a series of workshops about their role in the SDGs. It was really important to us to target this group that historically have not been included in SDG work, despite the fact that our communities have so much knowledge and so much to contribute towards Agenda 2030.
Indigenous communities are already doing a lot of these SDGs and we didn't even realize it. As Indigenous communities, our way of life centers around a lot of these SDGs, and it was almost a little uncanny because we're already passionate about water, quality education, climate action, the health and wellness. We're already passionate about justice, and we're already working towards gender equality.
Some of the project objectives include building the capacity of Indigenous youth to be SDG champions for their communities. It's a very hard thing to describe, but Indigenous women and Two-Spirit folks, non-binary people, they're trendsetters, like they're trailblazers. They're standing up and speaking out and being proud of who they are.
Nindalawisi Jordan, Delaware Glooscap. My name is Jordan, and I am from Glooscap First Nation. And I would like to acknowledge that I am joining you from my traditional and unceded territory of Mi'kma'ki. I am honored to be here today to receive this award on behalf of the program and the young Indigenous leaders who actually guided all the work that was done. We would also like to extend our gratitude to the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation, the Selection Committee, and the Together Ensemble 2020 conference for giving us this platform to share all of the contributions of young people towards the SDGs. The impressive and diverse work being highlighted today, it's a clear reminder of how impactful youth can be in the work that they're doing. I also must give a very special thank you to the participants of the OCOV program who are the genuine recipients of this SDG award. Their passion and dedication is the work that we're truly celebrating today. The Our Communities, Our Voices program is receiving the Social Justice and Inclusivity SDG Award. And this initiative created opportunities for Indigenous women and Two-Spirit folks to build relationships and actually learn from each other using the SDGs as a framework. And while Leave No One Behind is one of the top priorities in Agenda 2030, Indigenous communities worldwide are still lacking engagement and consultation in our global SDG work. So solutions to address these issues must be from self-determining people in collaboration with their communities and their nations. And so through the OCOV program, we were able to support Indigenous women, girls, and members of the Two-Spirit LGBTQ+ community to bring their voices to the forefronts of these conversations and to engage their communities with the SDGs. So we're very excited to celebrate the work of all of these youth today. And I'm just so excited to be here and appreciate everyone's time. I'll hand it back over to Chuk.
Well, Jordan, that is phenomenal. That's spectacular. And so with that, we are now going to transition à notre quatrième catégorie, éducation et développement économique. Donc, cette catégorie se concentre principalement sur les ODD 4 et 8. Cette catégorie vise à célébrer le potentiel des individus ou des communautés grâce à l'éducation et la création des possibilités de travail décentes. Donc, avec tout ça en tête, j'ai le plaisir d'annoncer le premier lauréat dans cette catégorie, Lives for Literacy, siégé à Montréal, et le prix sera accepté par Yasmin Farah-Pierre au nom de cette organisation. Donc, avec tout ça en tête, let's roll video.
Nearly half of Canadians have literacy skills that fall below a high school level. 1 in 6 Canadians struggle to pass the most basic of literacy tests. With literacy playing such a huge role in economic and democratic participation, overcoming illiteracy should be a priority in Canada and around the world.
The issue that we are tackling here at Lives for Literacy is illiteracy. Literacy goes beyond the ability to read and write. It is a pathway to freedom, to coming out of the vicious cycle of poverty, and it is a human right that each individual is entitled to. So currently Alpha L is made up of 600 plus volunteers that are from all over the world, and seniors and educators as well. So our mission is to ensure that youth everywhere have the opportunity to acquire literacy skills and help them reach their full potential academically and economically. Some of the things I'm really proud of are projects that we've done. We delivered school bags full with stationery supplies such as pencils, erasers, rulers, notebooks to marginalized communities. And another one that we're doing currently is we're delivering basic children's books to hospitals. These children, in their spare time, they can utilize this in a good manner. Marginalized communities are not able to access these certain resources. We made it a point to make sure that they are included. Greetings to my friends, family, and colleagues. I am extremely honored to be receiving the Canada Sustainable Development Goals Youth Award for the category of Education and Economic Development. We are earnestly grateful for the recognition that we have received for our relentless work to aid underprivileged citizens in Canada and youth around the world. Winning this award would not have been possible without the inspiration and support from volunteers, executives, and most of all, everyone who had faith in us. It is a testament to continue my efforts to advocate for literacy and the rights of others. It further empowers us to overcome trials and tribulations of promises to do utmost for humanity. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Yasmine. Merci énormément. Le deuxième lauréat dans cette catégorie-là est Youth Do Crew de l'Alberta du Sud. Et le prix sera accepté par Shannon Rolock au nom de Youth Do Crew. Je me sens comme je ne suis pas assez cool pour dire le nom, mais en gros, roll video.
Historically, the unemployment rate for Canadian youth has always been higher than the unemployment rate for older Canadians. Due to COVID-19, even fewer opportunities exist for young Canadians looking to get volunteer or work experience. But in these Alberta communities, that's starting to change.
Do Crew helps youth develop skills that will aid into the transition to adulthood, more specifically employment skills. So youth who live in rural communities, especially those who are not in close proximity to a larger city, have limited opportunities to gain work experience compared to their peers who live in larger urban centers. The Do Crew helps bridge this gap by connecting high school students with the opportunity to lead youth-led service projects. We give the youth an opportunity to gain skills like project management, time management, event planning, all that good stuff by leading service projects that they feel strongly about. We started in 2019, and as of today, we've had over 100 youth join our program and participate. That might not seem like a large number to some people, but when you consider that some of the communities we work in have 3,000 or 4,000 people living there, that is actually quite a substantial number. I've actually had some former participants reach out for reference letters, to write a letter of recommendation for a scholarship, which is really neat that they have someone, even if they've never had a formal job, they still have someone who can provide a reference, talk about how amazing they are. I can't really measure that, but we know that this program is having a really big impact on kind of the trajectory of these kids' lives.
Hi, everyone. On behalf of the Youth Do Crew, I'm very grateful to be accepting this SDG Youth Award. I'm super honored to be able to share the talents and achievements of young people from rural Southern Alberta with folks from all across the country today. So I'm here accepting the award as the program's coordinator. So first and foremost, I'd like to give a special shout out to all Youth Do Crew members, past and present, from Raymond, Coaldale, Colehurst, and Tabor. As volunteers in their small communities, these teams are prime examples of young people making conscious decisions to shape a better and more sustainable future, not only for themselves, but for all. Unfortunately, most of them couldn't be here today. It's about 2 o'clock in Alberta time, and they're in high school. So I'm super excited to share the recording with them later. And I know they're going to be really inspired hearing from all the
other award recipients. Their participation in the Do Crew is just one example of how they're contributing to a better future. It really demonstrates their drive to gain valuable work experience and better prepare themselves for life as an adult. I'd also like to thank all the staff from FCSS who've been instrumental in supporting these young leaders. I'm sure all the other young people here today can relate to how important it is to have a positive adult role model in your life. So thank you to all my colleagues at FCSS. I'd also like to thank the other award winners for joining us today, and congratulations on all of your achievements. I'm sitting here very inspired and, like I said, very excited to share this with the youth in the Do Crew. Thanks also to our project funders at Canada Service Corps for making this initiative reality. And finally, I would like to thank Together Ensemble, the ACGC, and the selection committee for recognizing the Youth Do Crew's efforts with this award. And now I'll turn it back to Chu for the announcement of the next award winner. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Shannon, just making me proud to be Albertan. I'm going to just go out there and be like, yeehaw tonight. The next category is innovation and systems change making, which focuses primarily on SDGs 7, 9, 11, and 17. And so this category seeks to celebrate ideas and projects that are finding innovative solutions and accounting for gaps or injustices in existing infrastructure, technology, policy, and/or systems. So our first winner in this category is called SDG Impact Challenge, based in Waterloo, Ontario, and it'll be accepted by Janvide Desai, who is the campus coordinator. So let's roll video.
When you think of hackathons, you might think of coding and software development. But hackathons are really about finding innovative, novel solutions to complex problems. Problems like getting the world back on track to meeting the Sustainable Development Goals.
The SDG Impact Challenge started from a need to bring a sustainability mindset to hackathon nature at the University of Waterloo and get student minds to kind of start thinking about how those pressing sustainability challenges could be resolved.
Students from the University of Waterloo and other universities come together, form multidisciplinary teams of 4, and they tackle real sustainability challenges like faced by our partner organizations.
You look at climate change or the environmental crisis or, human rights issues around the world, multidisciplinary thinking is required to solve those. And so we aim to give everyone a taste of what really goes into, hacking for sustainability. The best ideas are very small and they require a lot of team effort and a lot of amazing people to work on them to get them at, the position they're at right now. And so I would just say, don't be scared of those small ideas. They have a lot of potential.
Hi, everyone. I'm very grateful to be accepting this award on behalf of Impact Lions, the Sustainable Development Goals Student Hub at the University of Waterloo. When I first joined Impact Lions in 2019, it was a cool way of getting involved with the work of the United Nations, something I always dreamt of doing as a child. Since 2019, my involvement has grown, and now as campus coordinator, I feel inspired and motivated, not just by the global organizations we're affiliated with, but especially from the network of like-minded students I have the privilege of interacting with every day. The SDG Impact Challenge is a sustainability hackathon that started off just as a small idea. And I'd like to give a huge shout out to Maria Fraser Semenoff, our solutions officer at the time, who wanted to bring hacking culture into the realm of sustainability. As we enter year 2 of the SDG Impact Challenge, I'd also like to reiterate my thanks to the entire Impact Line Solutions team, led by Milind Nayak, who are working hard day and night to bring another reiteration of the hackathon to life. As always, our student-led group is not able to achieve such feats in isolation, and so a special thank you also goes out to the Sustainability Office on campus, as well as all of our event partners who take time out of their busy schedules to lend a hand to such an important initiative like ours. The call to action I'd like to leave all of you with today is that sustainability issues are out there and they're going to require problem solvers from all backgrounds and disciplines to step up. And so the first step you can take to develop the skills you need can be joining this year's SDG Impact Challenge, which is taking place next weekend, March 11th to 13th, and it'll be open to post-secondary students from around the world. Yeah, thank you once again, and I'll pass it back to you, Chuk.
Thank you so much. How exciting. And now we're going to transition to a city that's, what, 2-ish hours away? So the next winner is Youth Policy Advocates Policy Center, based out of Toronto, and it'll be Harshini Ramesh accepting the award on their behalf. Back to the video.
What we're trying to do is disrupt some of these historic patterns and really trying to actively bring youth to contribute in a way that they want to.
Politicians always say we're preparing youth to be leaders of tomorrow, but why can't we be leaders at the moment, at the present, right?
The YPA Policy Corner is working towards providing a policy writing platform and policy skill building opportunities for youth in Canada. We're trying to improve the representation of young people in the policy space, and so in response we created this local chapter of the Policy Corner. And to give you a bit of a background, the Policy Corner is a globally based organization. It's an independent platform for students and young professionals to publish research-based articles on global issues with growing local chapters around the world.
We are planning to launch our publishing platform this year. We're planning to continue to build out resources and supports which will eventually enable youth to gain policy skills like writing and research.
We had nearly 40 youth based in Canada and abroad contribute to the actual creation of the process, and this youth-led, for youth, by youth approach, I think, makes most sense. Hello, bonjour. Thank you on behalf of the YPA Policy Corner. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup to the Ensemble Committee and the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation for this honor. And congrats to my fellow winners and all the youth across Turtle Island, so-called Canada, who are undertaking equally important work. Our project started when we, a group of youth, recognized the barriers to entering and engaging in policy. We hope to radically alter the way that youth engagement in policy occurs by ensuring that youth voices are actually listened to and implemented throughout the policymaking process. We are so excited to be creating opportunities like our policy writing platform, which is launching later this month, actually, for youth to contribute to policy and be active members of the policy community. But to get to this stage, there are so many people to thank today. It took a community to create our initiative. I'm privileged to see the power of youth minds in action every day who built this initiative from the ground up. A massive thank you to our wonderful youth team, who I'd like to name individual. Thank you, Tenzin, Hajar, Rahul, Ruva, Elena, and Faria. You all continue to innovate in the most inspiring ways. Thank you as well to our advisory committee, Arjorie, Rochelle, Gabriella, for your continued guidance and cheerleading. We're grateful for the chance to work locally and globally to further the SDGs, and for that, a big thank you to our parent organization, Policy Corner, for working with us across borders and time zones to create space for young people to engage in policy. And finally, a massive thank you to our youth community. Thank you for engaging, and we look forward to building a platform that lets you make waves in policy. If I can leave folks with a note, do remember that young people are smart, they are curious, and they are driven to make the world a better place. Our call to action is for youth and everyone alike to come visit us and share your ideas about the world that you want to live in. Thank you, and back to you.
Merci beaucoup, Harshini. Merci beaucoup. Puis,
Thank you so much.
Hello, bonjour.
And congratulations for that hello.
So our event is now coming to a close. And so I would like all of us to sort of take a quick moment to congratulate just everybody, all of the winners of these phenomenal awards. I'm going to be sort of, doing the Zoom clap? Yes. But if you are not sort of visible, I ask that you post in the chat. Just let people know the love. Let them feel the love. I would also like to thank once again sort of our sponsors, so the Government of Canada, for their financial support. Madame la secrétaire parlementaire de la ministre Yara Sachs,
as well, Parliamentary Secretary to Minister Sachs. Thank you for having taken time out of your busy schedule to be with us and for congratulating the award winners and all of the teams at ACGC Together Ensemble and the Youth Council as well as the Selection Committee for all of your hard work.
Après cet événement, nous avons un moment de réseautage afin de vous donner l'occasion de se rencontrer et de se présenter.
And to introduce yourselves.
As many of the young people have said today, and as we've heard, if you attended sort of the conference that preceded this celebration event, we cannot change the world on our own. And so I hope that you take a moment to meet other young, phenomenal change makers and build coalitions and communities to create new systems and ways of being that celebrate all of our human and non-human kin. So the networking event is going to be starting soon. I believe Zoom links have been sent to your emails, and I will see you there.